The internet runs on code.
But code isn't enough.
Behind every deploy is a race against complexity.
Cloud scale, cost spike. AI rewrites the rules.
Tools break, titles change.
This is the world of DevOps, cloud, and software at scale.
Built on sleepless nights.
On-call alerts, silent fixes.
We don't just build features. We build the backbone of the modern world.
This is Run It Bear Podcast. Subscribe. Ship smarter, sleep better.
You're listening to Run It Bear Developer Podcast, where we strip tech down to its core. Each episode blends insights from our expert engineers, the developer community, and the support of AI.
Hello and welcome to a new deep dive.
Hey, everyone.
So if you're like us, fellow developers, tech enthusiasts, maybe constantly juggling dependencies, staring down compliance requirements.
Oh, yeah, and just trying to figure out where all this tech stuff is actually going. Staying updated is like half the battle.
Right. And the other half is not getting totally swamped by documentation and marketing hype.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And after our last deep dive where we, dug into GDPR and started poking around for EU-friendly tech alternatives, well, it just felt like a really necessary next step for us in our own research to kind of pull back the curtain a bit more.
Totally. To see what significant open source projects are really cooking over in Europe.
We were thinking beyond just the talk about compliance, what are the actual solid, production-ready things being built?
Specifically with those, let's say, core European values baked in. Privacy, compliance, openness.
Right from the ground up.
And honestly, what we started uncovering was, genuinely pretty exciting.
It really is. So this deep dive is all about showcasing some of those key European open source players.
Yeah, these aren't just like random GitHub repos. Our findings suggest they're actively shaping things like digital sovereignty, privacy, security.
And offering some potent, maybe even surprising alternatives to the usual big names we all know.
So yeah, grab your coffee, settle in. We're going to unpack what we found, look at some seriously cool projects we stumbled upon.
And hopefully, spark some aha moments. Maybe give you some new ideas for your own stack, or at least some new tools to consider.
Let's dive in.
Let's do it. Okay, so based on, all the digging we did, research papers, project docs, forums, what's the big picture? What's driving this push in European open source?
Well, the thing that kept jumping out at us was this growing, almost palpable concern about data privacy fundamentally. Not just in theory, but like, where does your data actually live?
Right.
Who really has access?
Right. And then there's that whole digital sovereignty angle.
Exactly. The ability for people, companies, even whole countries in Europe to control their own digital future, instead of just being reliant on others whose rules might change overnight.
And tied right into that is security, obviously. Relying too much on these huge, centralized, often closed source platforms.
Especially ones outside your legal jurisdiction.
Yeah, it introduces risks, vulnerabilities, maybe processes you can't see into, dependencies that folks in Europe are getting, let's say, increasingly nervous about.
It feels less like some abstract political thing and more like just practical risk management.
Yeah.
What actually happens if vendor X way over there changes their terms or has an outage
or gets compelled by their government to hand over our data?
Precisely. And Europe, with things like GDPR and the AI Act coming up, they're not just playing defense. Our research really showed they're actively trying to foster an environment where privacy and security are like built-in features.
Baked into the tech being developed there.
Yeah.
And it's broad too, right? Our findings confirm this isn't just one little niche. We saw major stuff happening in AI, cloud, cybersecurity, web dev, even digital identity. It's across the board.
And one thing that really hit home for us, especially thinking about developers building for businesses or, government work, certifications.
Oh, absolutely critical. ISO 27001 for security, GDPR compliance proof, specific industry standards.
Our research suggests these aren't just nice to haves. They're practically table stakes for getting adopted in the real world, especially enterprise.
Totally. Knowing something's been through that rigorous check gives you a level of trust you just don't get otherwise, especially with sensitive data involved.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics. We found 10 projects that really stood out. Instead of just rattling them off, maybe we can group them a bit based on how we saw them fitting into this whole digital sovereignty picture.
Sounds like a plan. How about we start with the foundational stuff like core infrastructure cloud, self-hosting?
Perfect. First one that caught our eye here, OpenNebula.
OpenNebula. Right, from Spain. Cloud computing category.
Yeah. Our research frames it as this lightweight open source platform. It's for building and managing private clouds, hybrid clouds. Think of it as a European player going up against giants like OpenStack or VMware.
And the key thing we found, why it matters. It's built specifically to follow European cloud regulations.
Which makes it a go-to alternative for organizations needing to keep their cloud stuff under their own control, maybe on-prem, maybe with local European providers.
Instead of just defaulting to the massive non-EU hyperscalers, your AWS, your Azure.
Gives developers that freedom, right, to run your cloud where you need it for compliance or sovereignty reasons. Plus, a little bonus we noticed, supports Kubernetes.
Music to many developers' ears. Definitely helps with cloud-native stuff.
Okay, so moving up a level maybe, but still in that own your data zone. Nextcloud.
Nextcloud.
Huh.
Germany. Collaboration in cloud storage. This one directly addresses that slightly uneasy feeling you get wondering where your company's shared docs actually are.
Yeah. Our findings basically describe it as a privacy-first, self-hosted replacement for Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive.
The core idea is total data control. You install it on your server or one you trust, and boom, your data stays put.
Which, for devs in regulated sectors, is massive. Our research showed it's built to strictly follow European privacy and security rules.
And it's not just theoretical. We saw it being picked up by businesses, even governments, specifically to cut that reliance on non-EU cloud storage.
And what really stood out in our findings was how extensible it is. It's not just files, right?
No way. You could bolt on modules for email, chat, real-time document editing, calendars, contacts.
It's like building your own little private compliant Google Workspace or Microsoft 365. Pretty neat.
Very modular. Okay, so we've got self-hosted cloud collaboration. What about secure communication, like team chat, messaging?
That led us straight to Matrix.
Matrix, yeah, sort of a joint France-UK origin, right? Our research clarified it's fundamentally a decentralized communication protocol and network, not just an app.
Right. It's an open standard for decentralized real-time comms, designed, again, with privacy and security first. The really cool bit we found, it's federated.
Explain that a bit.
Well, users aren't locked into one company's central server farm. You can run your own Matrix server or join one run by someone else. And crucially, these different servers can all talk to each other.
So that's the data sovereignty piece. Unlike, say, Slack or Discord or WhatsApp, where one company holds all the keys.
Exactly. Matrix distributes the control.
Yeah.
You run your server, you control your data on that server, but you can still chat securely with someone on a completely different Matrix server.
Gotcha. And our findings really hammered home the security aspect, too. ISO 27001 certified.
Which is serious business. And the kicker we found,
Like-
used by parts of the European defense community and the French government.
Okay, that's a pretty strong endorsement, if it's good enough for them.
Probably solid enough for your team's chat channel. And obviously, end-to-end encryption is core, privacy by default.
Makes sense. Okay, so infrastructure, comms. Let's pivot slightly. What about specific tools developers interact with daily, where privacy is becoming like a major headache?
Oh yeah, first up, something that could be a massive headache reducer, plausible analytics.
Plausible. From Estonia, web analytics category. Our research positions this as a direct privacy-focused alternative to, well, you know who, Google Analytics.
And the magic words we kept seeing in the research, cookieless analytics.
For any dev who's torn their hair out implementing cookie banners and consent flows for GDPR.
Right, a tool that gives you useful insights without needing invasive tracking or setting cookies. It's kind of a godsend.
Yeah, it dramatically simplifies compliance. Our research noted it's also ISO 27001 certified, so the minimal data it does collect is handled securely.
Plus, a nice little perk we found for developers because it's so lightweight, no heavy tracking screw.
It's usually way faster to load than GA.
Faster pages and easier compliance. Yeah, sign me up. Solves a real pain point for anyone running websites under strict EU privacy rules.
Definitely. Okay, sticking with applications, but different medium.video. Our research pointed us towards PeerTube.
PeerTube, yeah. French origins, decentralized video streaming, GDPR compliant, built on ActivityPub.
So, similar idea to Matrix, right? It's federated video sharing.
Exactly. Instead of one giant, YouTube controlling everything, videos are hosted and shared across a network of independent servers or instances that can all connect.
And what's the big deal there? Why does that matter?
Well, our findings really emphasized how it sidesteps the usual issues. No single choke point, no algorithm purely driven by ad views, and crucially, No invasive tracking of users for ad targeting.
Because there are no ads baked in.
Pretty much. It's GDPR compliant by its nature. And being open source, anyone can spin up their own PeerTube instance, host their own videos, join the network. It's about distributing control, empowering creators and communities.
Interesting. Taking back control of video. Okay, let's pivot again. Let's talk hardcore security and privacy, like OS level, network level. This is where things get pretty serious.
Yeah, first one here, QuibizOS.
Quibs, Polish roots, secure operating systems category, often called the world's most secure desktop OS.
And our research definitely backs up that kind of claim. It's a Linux distro, but its whole architecture is based on security through virtualization. It isolates everything, apps, tasks, into separate secure compartments called cubes.
Like running different bits of your digital life in totally separate, firewalled virtual machines, but all on one desktop.
That's a good way to put it. And that architecture is its superpower. Our findings flagged it as recommended for people facing really high security risks. Think journalists, activists, security researchers, government agencies.
People who absolutely cannot afford to get compromised by, like, one bad email attachment or a browser vulnerability.
Right, and the certification here is telling. Our research highlighted common criteria ELFO 4+. Now, EL means evaluation assurance level.
And 4+ is pretty high, right? It means serious independent security vetting.
Extremely rigorous. It gives strong confidence in the system's security design. It's built specifically to resist cyber espionage, make zero-day exploits much harder to pull off system-wide.
Powerful stuff. Maybe overkill for just browsing Reddit.
Probably.
Yeah.
But essential in high-stakes scenarios.
Okay, and complementing Qubes in that deep security space, we also looked into Hunix.
Hunix, Austrian project origin, privacy and security category, but really focused on anonymity.
Our findings described it as a Linux OS designed specifically and only to route all network traffic through Tor.
The key is how it does it. Our research showed it uses 2 virtual machines. One runs your app's browser, chat, whatever, and it can only talk to the second VM.
And that second VM is a gateway that only talks to the Tor network.
Exactly. That strict separation prevents common ways your anonymity could leak, like an app accidentally connecting directly to the internet and revealing your real IP.
Gotcha. So if Qubes is about isolating apps for security, Hunix is about isolating network traffic for anonymity.
That's it. Our research suggests it's one of the absolute safest environments if your primary goal is to prevent tracking, fingerprinting, IP leaks, total anonymity.
The kind of thing used by cybersecurity researchers, whistleblowers, journalists in really hostile environments, basically becoming a digital ghost.
Okay, wow. So we've hit infrastructure, apps, deep security. Let's look at 2 more that tackle maybe the practicalities of sovereignty and identity. First, making self-hosting less scary.
Unohost. Strants.
Self-hosting and digital sovereignty platform, basically making it easier to run your own show.
Yeah, this seemed vital for actually using some of the other alternatives we talked about. Our findings showed Unohost massively simplifies setting up and managing your own private email, cloud storage like Nextcloud.
Chat platforms like Matrix.
Right, and other web apps, all on your own hardware or a server you control, aimed at individuals, families, small businesses, NGOs. It kind of abstracts away a lot of the gnarly server admin stuff. Our research framed it as helping users reclaim control, rely less on big U.S. cloud services, and bonus, it makes sticking to EU privacy rules easier when you're the host.
Definitely lowers the barrier to entry for digital sovereignty. Our findings also highlighted how well it integrates with popular self-hosted apps. It's like an easy mode installer for your personal internet corner.
Nice. Okay, finally, let's touch on identity itself. IATIS 2.0.
IATIS 2.0. This one's straight from the EU itself, Digital Identity and Security Framework category.
Our research really positioned this as the EU's big, ambitious plan for a secure, block-wide digital identity system. The core concept: give citizens and businesses a verifiable digital ID they control,
which they can then use to access online services securely without needing to use, log in with Google or log in with Facebook.
A huge step for digital sovereignty. Our findings made it clear. This is being built from the ground up to align with EU cybersecurity rules, trust frameworks. It's about a standardized, trustworthy way to prove who you are online under European law.
Practically speaking, our research suggests this digital wallet could eventually unlock secure access to government sites, healthcare, banking, e-commerce, all across the EU.
A powerful alternative to the current mix of fragmented or commercially controlled ID systems.
Wow. Okay, that's quite a tour. So trying to synthesize all the cloud stuff, the apps, the security layers, identity, what were the common threads we kept seeing woven through our research on these projects?
I mean, the focus is just relentlessly on privacy by design, robust security, explicit compliance with EU rules.
Definitely a push towards decentralization, too, where possible.
Yeah, and just the fundamental goal of providing open, transparent, trustworthy alternatives. Alternatives to these huge, often non-EU tech power centers.
It really felt, from our findings, like this isn't just a random collection of cool projects. It's more like a coherent movement, building a more sovereign, more resilient, maybe more ethically grounded digital future.
And not just for Europe, maybe providing blueprints for others too.
Yeah, showing it's possible to build really advanced tech, AI, cloud, whatever, but prioritize user control, transparency, and compliance.
Absolutely. And for you listening, the developer, the tech lead, the builder, these aren't just abstract ideas, right?
No way. These are tangible tools we found. They can solve real compliance headaches, give you building blocks for more secure apps, offer paths to create systems where you and your users actually stay in control.
It's a chance to build maybe a little differently, aligned with principles that seem increasingly important.
So thinking about everything we've unpacked from our research, what do you think? Are you using any of these already? In your jobs, side projects, personally?
Or did we miss them? Are there other cool European open source things we should definitely be digging into next time?
We genuinely want to know. Your experiences, your opinions, they add so much. Reach out, usual channels, or drop a comment wherever you found this deep dive.
Yeah, let us know.
And hey, if you found this useful, if it sparked some ideas or gave you some names to check out, please share it. Pass it along to your colleagues, your network.
The more people aware of these alternatives, the stronger this whole ecosystem gets.
Our research really suggests these projects aren't just building software. They're kind of building a different vision for the internet.
One that challenges the status quo by offering real, powerful, secure, transparent answers.
Which kind of leaves you with a final thought, doesn't it? Given these tools, these principles, this whole movement, what could you build?
Something to ponder, definitely.
All right, thanks so much for tuning in to the deep dive. We really enjoyed digging into this one.
Hope you found it valuable. Until next time.